Okay, so I saw this like kind of documentary thing on Virginia, and the family seems to think like certain things were real with domestic violence. Um, I can't say for certain, but it leans more on the side of another thing, which I don't want to overlook because I'm always looking for the perpetrator in the room, the sociopathy, and all that stuff. But when I go through this stuff, many times there's like about a million other mental health issues, and since that's not my field, I don't know names of them. I don't know, a lot of things about it. But there was one case, and maybe they should take a look at that case to kind of understand it because they seem to be like confused that anybody would harm themselves that way or could harm themselves that way and break their own bones or anything like that. Oh yeah, it's actually one of when I searched yesterday, there was about three different mental illnesses that popped up, but I don't know which it would be related to, and it could be maybe a host of a whole bunch more. And mainly the underlying cause for a lot of those is childhood trauma. So it wouldn't discount like her thing with Epstein or anything. It actually could just mean it's due to the fact of the childhood thing with Jeffrey. And so it doesn't make her a pathological liar. So, but a person that has that will lie for an event. Like we'll go through this thing. I'll bring up the other story. And the way it was originally put into the media is probably, it wasn't the proper way to look at it. Like they were just saying like, oh, it's this woman who knew what she was doing and lied about rape. But that's actually not really what the end goal is for the individual that has this mental illness, whichever one it was, but they never talked to us about it. So we're all uneducated, right? We don't know what that is. And I think it's important to note that all sex crime victims don't always end up with the same mental health issues. So some end up with PTSD, some end up with this, some end up with turning into straight up void socios and reoffending, right? So it goes, you don't know exactly where things are going to go. One of the indications that why it may not be totally true with the domestic violence, the guy does, I don't even want to discount this. The guy sounds like a total jerk to women. And so they were pulling up stuff and I go, yeah, absolutely. Like that's not a guy that was healthy for her anyway. And the whole concept of him just popping up right when she's in the middle of a ring and getting married within 3 days or, them wanting to get together is an unhealthy action. Yeah, trying to be rescued from the next person. So it's almost like another person taking advantage of her. And that's probably why she was acting out the way she was. She wants to get out of a bad situation she got into again and then couldn't get control of it. And then they start doing actions, right? So it may be that. It may be that. So, but they're very stuck on they believe it was all real and he did all this stuff. The indicators at the end was her, making up this sort of story about the car crash. But I mean, I could read the room. I was like, even if she did that, it's just mental health issues from probably all that crap, from her childhood to this to that. And then, and then other people saying, well, wait a minute, that actually didn't happen. So then people were out speaking on it. Well, they kind of turned the story into she had this other thing happen and doctor said this. Well, I don't know. I mean, that might be true, like some other issues with her. I'm not having the kids around her. I mean, somebody that's harming themselves, you wouldn't want your kids around. You wouldn't want kids around them. So therefore, then the father would be the one to take care of them until mom gets stable. And then mom wasn't stable and she should have been, she actually should have went to a mental health facility to make sure she didn't go any further than what happened here. And I was looking at it going, this should have been so easy to stop because you already see something bad's going on and she's talking like it's the end of the world and all this stuff. There's certain conversation. It's not, oh, I just want to take myself, this bullshit. It's just the way she's preparing. So one of the cases, a very it was a popular case on Twitter that we were going through and I was like, holy crap, somebody actually does stuff like this. But I didn't really understand this disorder. This is really weird. So it's not really, the thing isn't really a purposeful act to say somebody raped them. It's about what they get in return, which is not good because we don't get love and attention for being raped. I was like, I don't know. I wouldn't go take a hammer to my face and then tell people that happened expecting love and attention from it. She got attention. She did get attention. So they desire what they take as getting care and love and attention. So they don't care like what they need to do to get it, but these are like things like, I got harmed. Can you prove that you care about me? And it's funny because they showed in the video of her when the family came, she was happy as hell, Virginia, because she got, oh, they really care about me. Like it's an action. It's a mental health issue. It has a thing to do with that. I'm not in the field, so I'm not even the expert on this because I barely know much about it. And I want to know more about it because I have stated that anytime there's been any type of false allegation, the woman has been mentally ill or the male has been mentally ill. And so it's not necessarily, it depends. It depends on what illness they're on, because some are just straight up socios and they're like, I just want to make this up because I hate this person. Or it's a thing like this that's not as known, as something that can happen from these types of abuses, and they pass on. Abusing anybody, it passes on. But it's passing on in about a million different ways. So she made up, she started a story about she got kidnapped by some Asian dudes, which, oh God, this story was like crazy to me because out here, so the Asian population in this one area, so they do have human trafficking rings. So that's just a fact. They have organized crime like any other group of people do. And then they harm themselves in their own community from these, groups of people like Italians do, right? They had that crap going on. Okay. So for me, I was actually in a ring of idiots that were running a ring, but within LA County, and them wanting to work with the like, there's a whole story to this. So I did get a payoff. They tried to pay me off, and I didn't agree to this, and they just did it on their own. And so that's back. Like, they actually have, like, they had a website of them plotting to like try to rape me and do stuff in my work and everything online. So I can't make it up. It was on a separate site. And so that's validated. So there's actually like proof. There's other people. It isn't me. It's a bunch of men in a room together going, oh, I'll try to be stucking my hand down so and so. Yeah, they were doing this crap. The town has a very small Asian population, just 1.4% where she was at, right? And she tried to make up a story that it doesn't make any sense because our story is a whole different thing. Like, it was in the open, in their community. It was a lie in the newspaper saying, oh, there's nothing bad here, blah, blah, and it's only this and that and this and that. And it actually wasn't. Okay, but so anybody got a job there was not joining up a human trafficking ring or anything that even remotely should be like that. The gang member police came out into the public and started spinning the story and calling them all sluts and don't pay them. I mean, isn't that obvious that they're involved in some criminal activity? Yeah. So instead of the victims in the yeah. Okay. They actually have it really well documented in pieces, I said, throughout LA Times and some other things. But obviously, no one gives a shit about women to actually put it together and have conversations with all the victims of that. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And there's a lot of rich men involved in that, for sure. So when I read the story, I was thinking, oh, it totally could be true, because of that. Okay, so let's say why we listened to it. She claimed to have been taken to an address at a place and raped by numerous Asian men. Well, some of these things did, like, technically happen out here. So that's why I was like, oh, man, what's going on in the UK? Really. But she made it up, guys. That was the thing about it. So included were graphic images of injuries to her face and body, and she claimed the gang had inflicted on her. In fact, she had done them to herself. And the injuries were so insane, man. Don't they mimic some of the things of Virginia? So they did. And when they went into her background too a little bit, it was very troubled. It was very troubled. So it isn't about like, I just want to bust all these men. It's about, I'm getting the love and attention that I'm desiring and needing and blah, blah, blah. Well, this similar trait is in a lot of these white men too that I keep calling dying for attention that, shoot up the place. Like that little tidbits in there that we call the Tim Ballard disease, which is the Mormon. It's so weird because of what happened today. But I was like, yeah, they have this weird thing where they have a desire that they need to be remembered forever and like this last shout bullshit. And then in addition, they're suicidal. It's not PTSD. Like they may have PTSD. Like they're going to pull out this guy right now and go, he has PTSD, blah, 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 blah. But you know how many people have PTSD? Shitload of people on earth, and they don't go do that. Okay, so there's some other additions in that thing, and we can get into later. But they do. They have a tidbit of this thing of self-harm. Because at the end of it is self-harm, right? And then they do dramatic action, some crazy stuff, right? It's just there. It's like this little thing. But remember, a lot of these people could have 20 different elements going on, mental illness things and disorders. And so it's extraordinarily, like, I could pull out, a couple things, right? There's a lot of times it seems like they have, sometimes I've people up to 20 different things going on. And it's hard. It's hard. So I do believe that they've been missing a whole bunch of things, considering some things normal. They need to get up to date on getting new definitions for things. Admitting that they misdiagnosed some people. They might just be autistic. A lot of things in the area, right? So I'm just going through it, and we should be educated on this particular thing. And it could come from child sexual abuse. Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, this is actually a real thing. I can't imagine taking a hammer to my face just for attention. Okay, I need some love and attention today. Give me a hammer. Let me break the bones in my face to get it. The concept of it's hard for me because I don't have this problem, but I was trying to like wrap my brain around the mentality of it to kind of understand it, right? So anyway, the public threw eggs at her, and then they totally kind of overlooked she has a major mental health issue. We don't know anything about it and why she would do something like that. So then they punish her like a normal person. Like, really is a thing where she should be in a treatment program. Like, this is a straight up, you need major severe mental health treatment. I mean, this is one of those cases. Some of the stuff that was coming out was just horrible, and a lot of racist remarks as well. The window of his business were smashed 3 times, and people spat at the shop and regularly shouted abuse at the staff. Okay, well, that's actually not her fault. So let's go into this. I'm kind of tired of this thing. So her telling the story like that shouldn't get people to go out and do violent acts on other people, right? Really? Listen, guys. We just had a guy out here. Was it out here? It was somewhere. Go and track down a sex offender from the 1990, what was it, 93? Some older guy was convicted in the 90s. Some lunatic dude just decides, I want to go kill some convicted pedophiles. Goes and search for this guy who's like 71 or something. And he says it should be a fun thing for us to kill them. And then he goes and kills them. And this is the insanity of these men. The government promoting murdering them generally is a bad message because it's saying that they shouldn't be on Earth. And there's so much to talk about on that topic because most of them, a lot of them had been sexually abused as kids. Or the over narcissist parents, power and control issue. There's a whole shitload of things going on right there. They have been convicting people that they shouldn't have, and not necessarily from lies or anything. Like I said, there's been a long history of, perpetrators getting victims and be manipulated and say other people did stuff and all kinds of crap. Them getting the wrong person due to their bad investigating. And we're over here, we should go, do the DP on them. This is just stupid. But yeah, that does promote a message that some murderous message that we shouldn't be doing. And funny enough, by Christians, where it really says, thou shalt not murder, but you're murdering. So I don't know, but you want to go by the old or the, I don't know. But anyway, so even if she said these Asian people were doing that, nobody should be doing violent acts on another people, right? So that the people that are doing the actions have other issues in their head to be acting that out. So we're going to go, what do they say here? They dealt with more than 150 extra crimes in the aftermath of her Facebook post. So now they're just putting the world's problems onto her because men, it was probably like a bunch of men and some stupid women going out and they decided to commit crimes on people. And it's her fault that other people decided to commit crimes on other people. Because where would that come from? That would come from your church, that the doctrine that you guys have been teaching the whole time, to go like lash out on groups of people and anybody who doesn't fall into that thing, right? There's just a whole thing to this. I mean, and then they promote being with kids. It's like, can you make it make sense? Okay, so the whole world is on the woman's shoulder because she has a mental health issue. Okay, all right, so that's where that landed. But I do want you guys to read it because, and reflect back onto her conduct, because that's exactly where it went to with me. Because I was going through this case initially, and I don't think a lot of people know this case because it's in the UK. And I was following every rape case under the sun from here to India. And so this was one of them that popped up and I go, wow, well, most of them are all true, but this was one of the ones that wasn't. And I was trying to identify like when it wasn't, right? So when the ones, the really rare, extraordinarily rare ones that pop up, I want to know what's wrong with the person in it. And there's male ones too, but of course they never want to bring that up. Okay, so the, why they were doing it. So yeah, and all these, they have a mental health issue. So you just have to identify to make sure like it isn't a case of self-harm and then them with that mental health issue, okay? But we need to be educated. I mean, again, we need to be educated on all these different things because everybody just sounds stupid in the room and they just think it's, you know, this vindictive person that blah, 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 blah. And that's actually not what was going on. And then they won't understand the Virginia story if that was in fact the case. And it's almost like people just cannot wrap their mind around this bullshit. And it's like, well, you would if you understood the disorder. And then it would almost just validate our earlier stuff. It's just sort of like, oh, this is the outcome of how severe, sexual child abuses and child trauma due to a person where the outcome becomes this is like where it just went awry, right? It just went to another place and then this came out of it. And it's coming from that area. So that's what I think. And that's probably why they didn't take her side in the story because if he was already convicted prior, maybe that case wasn't real. You know, it's like, I don't know. Did somebody see it? Like, I didn't understand it. He's just like, he allegedly punched a dog and did this other thing and then went at her. And I was like, well, I don't know. I mean, and then, you know, there could be a combination of things, like both those things going on. And then, but for certain at the end, it was like Spiral City and it wasn't real thing. But again, the family can't wrap their mind around it because they probably are not educated on this thing right here. How could you do that to your face? I don't know, dude. Check this chick out. This one was one of the most extreme cases I've ever seen. I never even knew people would really do that to that extent. Take a hammer, you're just like breaking your face. Yeah, just for the thing over there. It was disturbing. But once you understand it, it kind of, I mean, do you have to really go that far? You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like a sense of masochism. Somebody with self-harm things going on. It's, maybe it runs on the line even of like the cutting people. Like, I don't know. Like, you would have to talk to those people. I don't do it, so I'm not the best person to even try to explain that thing. but it could run along the lines of those things. The pain to themselves too, as well. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. We need to be on top of this stuff. It's disturbing. It's bad. The MO isn't exactly what you think. It isn't this like sane person going, I'm gonna like do this to myself and cause this whole thing. So who's another one? Who's another one made up a story? I was like, who's the other one that made up a story? Oh, fucking white boy. I was like, this white boy pisses me off so bad though. The MAGA hat. The MAGA hat guy. Foundation may seek false report charges after cancel Amber Alert for Marion County for this dude right here. Caden needed some attention, okay? Caden had to make up some stories and throw in some Hispanics into it, like he got kidnapped. Where did we see this out? But a similar thing happened. A black woman called and said she saw a baby running across the road and then she goes missing. Yeah, I mean, it's in the same field. But what's interesting is the white boy side of things, because the white boy is shooting up the place and the white boy has this thing in him for attention, right? The chimp out, I'm the hero. This thing in it. But it's similar. Like, there's some similarities in it. Now, amongst all these people, like, you just want to know what the earliest part was in their life. So you can kind of go, okay, so both the female and him, may have traumatic childhood bullshit right here, right? So now he's turned 17. So this is like when you should already know this dude got problems. You should already know this dude has problems. He's 17. He's past the age of return, okay? So now he's acting out in the public for attention. Why? You question, what was the purpose of this? It's not, it's just some frat boy joking around. Yeah. I mean, this is pretty serious stuff. This is where people overlook it. And so I was like, at least he didn't shoot up a school, but he started making up stuff about groups of people. He made up a story that he was in a MAGA hat and some Hispanics came and shot at the car and kidnapped him, allegedly. And then they go look on video and they're like, wow, that's not what happened. We see him riding off on a bike. And I'm like, who made up that story? So I come out and I'm like, who the hell made up that story? Because that's a pretty detailed story. Oh, some Hispanics came and shot up and then kidnapped him. And then yet the video footage shows this whole other thing. And I go, somebody made that up. Somebody. What I do say, I would say right here, this individual, because he's technically a minor. I don't know about in your damn state. But he's technically a minor. That he needs some mental health care. And very, very seriously, okay? So, I'm not going to do that. I hate this white boy because he'd be trying to be racist or nothing like that. He's doing it to get attention because he knows the public will react to that. Like, oh, we're going to go target like this and they're going to care about me. It's so stupid. But yeah, so don't react to that thing. He needs to get mental health treatment. So that's where this goes. Knowing that, which I just brought forward, right? With this mental health thing, which is really severe from childhood. This is how we treat this, okay? Watch. This is how we treat this. Under Florida's Statute 8117-1949, knowingly filing a false report can be a first-degree misdemeanor and a third- or second-degree felony if the false report leads to serious injury or death. They allow penalties for giving false information and alleged capital felonies, including up to 5 years in prison and $5,000 fine. Does it even sound like remotely they're dealing with the guy's mental health issues? No. You want to know why they're shooting up the place? This is how we're actually treating it. Well, we'll just bust him and take some money from him, throw him in a cell, and that's the end of the day. And we're not dealing with the problem, right? We want to sit here and just call them liars, evil, racist, blah, blah, blah. They actually do have very severe mental health issues. And I do remember that when I was going through this a long time ago on Twitter before censorship became all the rage. People were saying, stop saying they're mentally ill, they're totally fine. And actually, the truth was, no, they were actually more severely mentally ill, but they're just, a lot of these things are disorders. And so it's not like they're so out there. I don't know. Everybody's perception of mental illness is weird. I think they're looking for the next like crazy Charles Manson thing where he's just off his rocker and they just can't, take care of themselves. No, a lot of these disorders are just all over the place and they function not very well. I mean, they go through life. Like you wouldn't notice sometimes from them, but they're the things that are making them do some crazy stuff. That's not healthy. It's a harm to self and others. He just harmed himself because he could go to jail because he wants the love and attention or whatever from the public. Maybe he's not at home. This is what I'm saying. It's like at home it may be that maybe as a military dad that has no emotions, that he doesn't show love towards his son. Maybe mom is away or no mom there. Who knows? You know what I mean? So, but there's some sort of combination of things for somebody to do this. It's not a prank. It's very severe. It's a cry for help. It is.